Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay. Good morning, everybody. Not really. This is kind of a formal greeting to everybody. You already know what's going on. You're not living under a rock, and sometimes I wish I did live under a rock. It's certainly one of those days. We're not going to be going through the whole normal little format here where we just talk about the news for half an hour, bring on a guest. We're bringing on two guests right away, Chris Dacey and Nico Lagan, because, we got a lot to talk about here today. I'll be making some decisions and sharing some news. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Nico. Hey, brothers.
Morning.
I would like to say, how are you doing? But I know. But thank you for joining us this morning because talking is what we need to be doing right now. Chris, appreciate you being here. We booked you ahead of time because we were going to share some good news around the, at least one of the court cases. Robert something. He was set free. Yeah. I guess he Jordan out. Was that the response there?
Yeah. Very, very long delay. And we can get to another show about that, but briefly, the judge basically just went to town on the Crown. It was like an hour of impugning the delays and whatnot, and then 11B charter violation, and then you're free to go. So that was a big win. Saba was in for a couple of days too. He's doing a constitutional a charter rights challenge. So that was heard, and a decision will be coming later in the month about that. If he wins, I think that would put an end to his case as well. So we'll have to see there.
The same challenge, a Jordan challenge?
No, about his arrest. So, you saw probably the video of his arrest. It was pretty violent, but they couldn't identify who arrested him. There was a lot of questions as to how he was arrested, if it was done properly. So if it was an unlawful arrest, then the subsequent search would have been unlawful. How they scraped the data from the internet would have been unlawful. So if he wins that one, it'll basically throw in all their evidence and he should be okay. But we'll have to wait and see for that one.
Okay, so thanks for that quick update, everybody. What a Jordan decision is, or just Jordan thing is, it's a delay. When the Crown delay is too long, you had 18 months on provincial and summary offenses, and then I think it's 36 months on federal and indictable offenses. Basically, the court has the requirement, the Crown has a requirement to process you and prosecute you within a timely manner. And if you don't do that, you're Jordan out. So it sounded like for Robert there was no delays on the defense side. That's part of the calculation. And it was all on the Crown. So it was thrown out. It's not really a victory because it's not innocent. You're like not guilty. You didn't get a not guilty verdict. You got the Crown screwed up. So we threw it out. We see this all the time. But okay, Chris, thanks a lot for that quick update. That's what we brought you here for. So maybe we'll have you back again in the near future to follow up on Saba and some of the other stuff that's going on in the courts in Ontario, Ottawa.
Can
Nico,
I just add to that,
much.
Jason, if you don't mind, before, the process is often the punishment, right? This is always 100%. What I see with those type of cases is they will drag it on and on and on and on. And the person that's being prosecuted is just sitting there every day, not knowing what's going to happen to him. He has no clue what his life is going to become. And then they dismiss it. And it's like it's a victory for that victim. It's not. That amount of stress that he had to go through for 18 months. Imagine going 18 months every day, not knowing if you're going to be with your children. Like you don't.
Correct.
And they keep on dragging. And then they're like, oh, we're no excuse. There's no excuse given to those victims. It's just the process is the punishment. They know exactly what they're doing and they're allowed to keep on doing it. They identify somebody they don't like. They punish them even though they never go inside of a jail cell. It's absolutely ludicrous that our political system, our justice system has been politicized as a weapon against dissidents.
Correct. And the big problem with the Jordan one is you didn't get a not guilty, which means going after for wrongful prosecution and suing stuff. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult because the Crown can still say, well, we still thought you were guilty. We thought we need to prosecute you. We just ran out of time. So it's very hard to even get your legal fees back under a Jordan. That's one of the decisions you have to make if you're going to try and Jordan out, is whether or not you want to just eat all of that legal. You're not going to get compensated for all your time. It's very unlikely because the court will say, well, you weren't actually found not guilty. So it's going to be difficult to get reimbursed on that. But let's move on to the major one here, Charlie Kirk. So Nico, thanks a lot for having me on your show last night, 2.5 hours. I rewatched it because, as you saw, my head was down a lot because I was trying to stay up to date with the news and bring more information forward. So I got to hear the conversation. Thank you for bringing that conversation forward. This is where we need to go next. Exactly what you're doing with political orphans is where we need to go next. Having these conversations with everybody on the spectrum on the same screen, being civil, getting through the discourse, having, common ground, like you say a lot of times, 80%. And I think this is exactly what Charlie would want, right? Because that's what Charlie was doing. He was having conversations with anybody. So thank you very much for having me on there last night. I think it was a success, and I'm still reeling. Okay, I've been up for the last 4 hours, thinking about my future and what I'm going to be doing. So I wonder if you're doing the same thing. What's going through your head this morning?
My heart was broken when I first saw the video yesterday. I was talking to my wife and I'm like, as soon as I saw the shot, I'm like, yeah, he's not going to make it. And because I'm heavily following American news, I saw the first video came out 5 minutes. Like literally after the first video that came out about it, I saw it right away and I'm like, ugh. And it was the long shot one, right? It was the one from behind the crowd. And I just looked at my wife. I'm like, this guy's not making it to the hospital. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that guy's making it. And then you start seeing the close-up shots and I'm like, ugh, this is not good. But man, I'm heartbroken. Like I sat down this morning for a good hour and a half just putting my thoughts together in a post, like in a written post. I'm heartbroken. Like I was crying this morning of you're talking about a Christian man. I'm a Christian first and foremost, and if you've listened to Charlie Kirk, he said it multiple times. The reason he did it is because he was a Christian. He was a Christian before being a father, before being a husband. He was a Christian. He knew that every single time he stepped onto a campus, he was going to hostile territory. He knew that he wouldn't be liked. He knew that there was danger, and he was aware that this was a possibility. Yet he continued doing it time and time again because that's what Christ tells us to do. If you're a Christian, you know you're going to be prosecuted. You need to admit two things when you become a Christian, right? You're a sinner. You're never going to be perfect. And people are going to come after you for telling the truth. And he knew that, and he paid the ultimate price. Yet the left, not all the left, obviously, but a lot of people on the left are calling him out for being someone that spread hate speech, that his death is a direct consequences of his words. They're promoting the fact that he deserved to get that because his speech bothered them, because his speech hurt their feelings. That's what hate speech is at the end of the day is, oh, did I hurt somebody's feelings or not? You have people that grew up with participation medals. So of course they're hurt by everything. They've never had to accomplish anything in their lifetime. And then you have a guy like Charlie Kirk that has the courage to show up on campuses and just say, guys, have you ever considered the other side of the equation? Because of him, there's millions of young Americans and Canadians that are now not afraid, that are courageous to be conservatives. Because let's not lie to each other here. The indoctrination centers that we call our education system is heavily controlled by the woke. Being a conservative, there was just a survey that came out from Abacus Data showing how many conservatives now are going to admit on university ground that they are conservatives when 2, 3, 4 years ago, it would have never happened. Why do you think that is? It's because they saw guys like Charlie Kirk have the balls to open a conversation, civil discourse where both sides of the equation could speak to each other. And yesterday you asked me a question about the political orphans and if Charlie Kirk had an influence in it. I had never considered it until you asked that question yesterday. And this morning when I was reflecting on it, I'm like, yeah, 100%. If it wasn't for guys like him, the political orphans would have never existed. That civil discourse would not exist. So for the people out there that thinks that he was full of hate, get your emotions in check and understand that all he did is promote civil conversation between the left and the right. This is exactly what we need in this world today in North America, especially in the West, because conservative voices like us four, my apologies, have been censored for years. He opened the door to civil discourse and he got shot for it.
Chris, you know this all too well too, okay? Because you go out there with your camera, you're going to the events, you're trying to have conversations. I've witnessed you many, many times. Just ask a question and try and talk civil. I don't hear you swear. I don't hear you being violent in any way, shape, or form, or provoking and enticing them in any way, shape, or form. But yet you've gotten beat. You've had your phone stolen from you. And you've also had the cops turn their back on you and basically tell you you're the problem when they go and attack you. So you've seen this firsthand as well. Quite literally, you've taken hands to the face on this particular issue too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, kind of like Nico, I think I went through the whole gambit of emotions, shock, and crying, despair, all kinds of stuff. And it did for sure make me, I took pause, and, I was planning to go to, maybe to go to Toronto this weekend for Christy Pitts. There's all kinds of talk about what that could turn out like. I mean, I have been the victim of street violence here a number of times. Sent you one fan mail message I got this morning, but I get regular threats every day. And a lot of the time it's you kind of brush these things off or whatever, but when something happens like this, it certainly makes you you take a minute to think for sure. I'm still trying to get my head around it all, honestly. I don't think it changes what I do particularly, but I definitely have to think about how I do it. I need to think about I need to take things that are said about me and to me more seriously. I'm not quite the target he was, but I'm certainly a face out here and have been a target. So yeah, it gives a lot of things to think about. I was kind of in shock for like half the day yesterday, to be honest.
No, I think that was my sentiment as well. I have never been physically assaulted, but we've received death threats in public, being accosted, various groups. But I got to be very honest here. That always comes from the conservatives or the freedom people, not the lefties for me. Because when you're telling the truth, you're going to upset a lot of people. I won't get into a lot of names, but there's a lot of people on what you would call the freedom side who've been very nasty and gross, like throughout my couple of years trying to bring the truth forward, like nasty and the big names too. I see Melissa McKee in the chat. Yeah, she's one of the good ones. You're one of the good ones. I can tell personally from my side which ones are the good ones because they're the ones that didn't turn, based on rumors or other people that were pushing them to turn. But then there's a huge group that did. They absolutely did. And nasty, like just gross. So I just want to make it clear. I'm not a member of the left and right. I'm not on the right of the left and right. I'm on the right of right and wrong. That's where I put my focus. I want to be on the right side of history. When it comes to right and wrong, that's where I say I'm on the right. But when it comes to left and right, conservative, liberal, I don't identify at all in any way, shape, or form with any of these sides. They're all gross. I want to be on the side of right. God is where I put my faith. I definitely follow that path forward. Christian, we're recently converted to Christian. And I don't feel like, conservative movement, a Republican movement, I don't feel like anybody's on the right side of history at this stage right now. It's only the people that know the difference between right and wrong. Nico, I know this is something that you talk about as well, because you and I get the same type of thing. When we talk about the truth, hey, Carney's a globalist, stay away from him. But so is Pierre. Like, boom, we get the shots. And the shots are not coming from the left. They're coming from the right. I'm looking at this event in Calgary coming up next weekend, and I'm looking at the people in there, and I recognize quite a few of them. Some of them are really great people. Some of them are not. Okay. And do I call them out? Do I go attack? No, I don't, because I'm focused on, advancing forward the truth. It doesn't mean taking other people down, but it means knowing, who your friends really are. So Chris, thank you so much, because I know you were pressured as well. Melissa in the chat, we love you as well from Bikers Church. We know who the real people are, the truth people are. And Nico, you as well. I know you've seen some nasty stuff about me and you've gone through it yourself. So we kind of really learn who our friends are. But yeah, what are your thoughts about that? Are you on the right of the right and left, or are you on the right of the right and wrong?
I'm under God, whatever that means. Whatever that fits me. It normally fits me in a place where both sides hates me. If this is my realization over the past year, is since I started creating content for Canadians instead of Americans, because I spend a lot of my time in the US, I'm starting to see that in Canada, you have to be hated by both sides. The conservatives are going to hate you as much as the liberal if you call out your leaders, no matter who they are. And that's what I do. Because at the end of the day, My job is to tell the truth. Whatever the truth is not about the reaction to the truth. It's just calling the truth for what it is. And Pierre Poilievre is a weak leader that has no courage. That's a fact. This is not my opinion. Just look at his track record. So if you don't like what I'm saying, check the mirror. Call on him to be better. Because that's what I do. But at the end of the day, you know, there's something that you said about calling out the people that are supposedly on the same side as us and calling them out for their nastiness. That's why I want to debate them. Those are the type of people that I want on my show to have that open conversation, to be able to say, you know what, I completely disagree with you. The way you handled this was wrong. This is why I believe that it was wrong. What's your opinion? Try to defend your position. But unfortunately, I'm starting to learn that most people don't want to debate their opinions. Most people want to live in an echo chamber. They're going to allow them to feel that they're right. I want to be proven wrong. I've been proving wrong on my show live. And I'm like, guys, I messed up. Or I came back a few shows after saying, hey guys, I did more research on this topic and I was wrong. Here's where I was wrong, but I'm a human. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be. But I want to debate those people. I want those people to show up to my show and talk. Try to have a conversation, even if it doesn't happen to be a great one, because sometimes, like it was proven this week, I had a guy that I absolutely despised on my show. It did not go well. I'm re-listening to it right now. But at the end of the day, I had the balls to call him out when nobody else, even Fox News, didn't have the balls to call him out live. I did, and I'm happy the way it turned out. But that's the type of content I want to create. If that pisses people off, good, because I'm really pissed off too.
Chris, by the way, I love that Nico. And by the way, I was a witness to one of these I was wrong moments, because I was as well. When we were calling for the death penalty here in Canada, it was brought to our attention, like, wait a minute, do you really want to give that government that kind of power? Because they can just label you and kill you. Like, oh, wow, you're right. So real time, yeah, we had conversations where we even changed our opinion on that particular subject. And it's rightfully so. Because Corey Morgan and Jeff Avely really brought to our attention. Do you really want to give those guys that power? Yeah. Like, you're right. Chris, I also want to give you a big thanks, because during the election, you were one of the ones that did not go after people like me. You definitely supported, you wanted to see the Liberals lose, but you didn't go down the road of like, well, let's bash the other sides as well. You just stayed focused on bringing forward the information the way you saw it, and you supported Pierre during his rallies and stuff like that, and you just brought the news forward. But you didn't take the next step, which is Pierre or bust, right? There was a lot of people that said Pierre or bust, and if you were not a Pierre, then you were a bust. So I just want to thank you publicly here that I recognize that you didn't take that step. You just stayed focused, and I did appreciate that, because so many didn't.
Yeah, I mean, this has kind of been my approach the whole time, right? It's always just been me trying to navigate, I guess, my way through on my own, and I try not to get caught in the weeds. I've met so many people, people with different points of view, coming from different places, and clearly everybody doesn't always align. But I think through this, I've done a pretty good job of kind of, I mean, obviously I'm not completely neutral. I have my opinions, but I've tried to stay pleasant and keep working relationships and even friendships with everyone I can along this, unless there's a real good reason not to. And it served me well. A lot of the time, I don't sit down and have as many of these long form conversations as you guys, so I don't get as much time to maybe talk. It's more like I'm out in the street just trying to show some stuff. But it's really important to have these conversations. I find what often happens to me is basically everyone just projects their feelings onto you. You probably get this as well. But when I don't speak specifically to something, everyone just decides my opinion for me and runs with it. But now that we get to talk a little bit more, people are probably getting to know me a little bit better. Maybe just touching on one thing that you guys both said. I think almost the entire thing that or the thing that does guide me entirely is God in this. I'm a Christian as well. And there's lots of times where I really didn't know exactly what I was doing. But I just tried to follow the path laid out in front of me. And the more I kind of trust in that, the more faith I have in that, the better things tend to work out for me. Even when they're a little scary, you step out with faith, and the ground seems to get harder underneath me sometimes, even when the world's crumbling. So
Yeah, completely true. And just to quickly comment on some of the commenters, there's several platforms here.
Yeah.
So if you see your chat in the box, you may not be on the same platform as the other people. I can see you trying to talk to each other, but you're cross platforms.
Yeah.
So if you're on the Political Orphans web YouTube, you won't see the Levine Show YouTubes. So I see that get a little confusion going on there. I love you all. The chat box is bringing in all the platforms, and there's 11 of them right now. So sorry if you're not connected on that level, but you can maybe talk through the chat. Just say hi to somebody. Maybe they'll see it and they'll say hi too.
And thank you everyone for sending in chats as well and communicating. It's been really, really, this has affected you a lot. A couple of in our locals chat have said like they have a 25-year-old son, a 31-year-old son, and they both held Charlie Kirk in high regard, and it's hitting them. It's hitting them pretty hard, these young men. And yeah, obviously love out to the families as well. And yeah, it's affecting a lot of people. They're being moved, and lots of conversations being had in the chat. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I saw a lot of those posts yesterday as well that said my son or my daughter brought it to my attention. My 16-year-old is bawling. They don't know what to do anymore. And it got me thinking, Charlie's group, the one that he spoke to the most, which are the university age people, this is their 9/11. They weren't alive or even around when the towers came down. So this is the first time that they saw real tragedy, real horror, terrorism right before their eyes, streamed all over their phones and platforms. This is their 9/11 because they weren't around for it. So this is why, Paula kind of made a comment earlier that it's sad that basically a lone person went crazy and took out a voice. I don't know if it's just alone anything, okay? Because it seems like every generation is getting their shocking moment. And I highly suspect the next step is going to be a lot more security and laws, like security given up, more laws coming through, because I suspect things like Bill 63, that we were fighting against here in Canada, is going to look a lot more attractive to a lot of people when they start saying things like, hey, we could have went after the person if we had those kind of laws in place. You're seeing Germany, knocking on 50 doors in one day, taking away people for their posts online. You're seeing France revolt. You're seeing Nepal revolt, getting a lot of violence going on out there. I highly suspect, just like 9/11, you're going to see something like the Patriot Act or something different here in Canada that takes away even more freedoms in the name of security. And it's going to be based on digital. It's going to be based on Bill 63. I think Bill 63 is going to come back with a vengeance on this one. Nico, your thoughts around that kind of concern of mine?
Before I address this, if you don't mind, the thing that hurts me the most about what happened to Charlie Kirk is that it really reminded me that we are all potential victim of this. Because Chris, you're on the street, people are starting to recognize you now. What's the next step? I just my Instagram account makes 10 million views a month. Just my Instagram account. That doesn't count anybody else. So how long before somebody sees me and starts getting violent? So as I'm looking at what happened with Chris Kirk yesterday, the reaction that I'm seeing from a lot of the people, especially mainstream media and a lot of the people on the left, is they're enabling this type of behavior. They're literally saying that it's okay to do that because we don't like those people. Remember, that guy was not a good person. He enabled his death. It's because of his hate speech that he died. That means that what? We can be the next target? What does that mean for my child? I have a 2-month-old newborn. What am I supposed... So I get to help people by speaking the truth, but he doesn't get to be raised by a man with courage. He doesn't get to have me on. Because that's what's happening to Charlie Kirk's family right now. That's what most people are not talking about, is he has impacted millions of young conservatives' lives, showing them that it was okay to be conservative. He won't even get to do that with his own children. That's what breaks my heart. I'm thinking about his children.
Same.
He's a 1-year-old son, 1-year-old son, 3-year-old daughter. Yep, young man. And look, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Nico, but Chris has already been assaulted in the street. This was a result of the Rainbow Group. Big knock to his head, took his phone, took his property. And Chris, what was the result of the police in Ottawa on this one?
Yeah, so yeah, maybe we'll get into a couple of details there. This was at a very large pre-planned protest. It was just heading into Pride Week, and it was 4 people in full black bloc that jumped me. They jumped me after I had witnessed multiple assaults, so they were probably trying to get the evidence from my phone. And they clocked me over the head with something there. In attendance at this thing were a bunch of people of note. So Faye Johnstone is a pretty big figure in the LGBT community. There were politicians there, actually. Joel Harden was there. After this happened, it took 45 minutes for Ottawa police to respond. They didn't really do anything. I mean, I got stuck in an ambulance and checked out after all that, but they were all masked. They didn't do anything at the time. And the assailants, the ones that attacked me, and are probably the same people threatening me daily, they're still out there. So that case is technically open, but nothing really came of it. And you were saying, Nico, they label us things, right? So they label me a Nazi and all kinds of other pejoratives all day. And then you hear these terms like, if you were actually a Nazi, what do you do to Nazis? You don't just punch them, right? And this is what we're seeing, this rhetoric ramping up. And it's not just coming from radical anonymous people on the internet. I've been called, my watermark has been called an extremist watermark in the House of Commons. I've had members of parliament defame me and slander me and lie about me in the House of Commons. And then you have institutions, government funded hit pieces being written by, Luke LeBrun and Press Progress and Anti-Hate about me, right? So you'll have government officials making up lies. Then you have this government propaganda wing writing hit pieces about you. And then they go circulating all through left-wing things. And these people believe it, right? When they see you and they're told that you're a Nazi 100 times, well, they meet you and they assume you're a Nazi. And then it's okay to clock you in the face like they did me. It's not good. And it's not just radical left-wing people online. Our members of parliament, our government officials, NGOs at all levels. There's a lot of people involved here and a lot of money involved as well. And that part's quite scary.
Can I add something to this, Jason, if you don't mind?
1 second, I'll bring it right to you.
Okay,
Go
ahead.
So Chris, I think it was you that may have posted Joel something that NDP, former MP, NDP MP, where he's posting that poster with the 3 bats and calling for people to go to that protest or that gathering in Toronto. Was that you that posted something about that?
Yeah. So that was actually Charlie Angus. Charlie Angus was a member of parliament. He's a radical activist, and he's encouraging and inciting violence openly. It seems with no consequence. He posted, like you say, that post about the Christie Pitts protest coming up. And it was an overt call to violence. It said BYOB on there with a bunch of pictures of bats, like bring your own bats to the ballpark. The same type of talk, like punch a Nazi. He openly says that. He's come at me more than once. Like he went completely unhinged. Came at me for about 4 minutes straight, screaming, swearing at me, calling me a Putin troll. He's a disturbed individual, but he incites a lot of this kind of attitude. And when you have like the people who are supposed to be leaders in these groups, setting an example like that, it's not surprising that people following them are similarly unhinged.
Sorry about that, Nico. Go ahead. I just want to kind of get that part out while Chris was talking.
It's your show, bro. You can cut me off anytime you want. That's what happens.
All right, on that note,
right? All I was going to say is, Chris, I said the same thing to Billboard Chris. Like I recorded a podcast with him a little while ago. I met him in real life at the NCI in Waterloo. And I told him, I'm like, bro, next time you're in Montreal, let me know. I'll protect you. Because he's been attacked before, right? He's been hit in the face with a constructor and cone. And one of the things that we need to do is to start thinking about the possibility that we will get attacked. I have 20 years of experience in martial art, and believe me, put your hands on me, you're going to pay it's going to cost you something. I'm not going to let it fly. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell me that I can't defend myself. I will never be the attacker, but if you put your hands on me or somebody that I love, you're going to pay the consequences. And that's what I think guys like you, Chris, needs to start thinking about. And I got some people, you and I can talk afterwards. I'll put you in contact with some of my bros down there that actually knows self-defense. They're Christian too. They'll just hang out around you to make sure that nobody gets cheap shots, because if we show them that there will be no consequences to their actions, they're just going to continue doing it. But if you defend yourself, if you have people out there that just, it's almost like a show of force, right? Just showing that I'm not alone anymore. I'm not a lone wolf. You can't just jump me because I'm not paying attention. I think this is the next step. As much as I will never prone violence, never say that we need to become violent, we still have to be intelligent enough to know that there are consequences to our actions. And Charlie Kirk is a perfect example. And it was reported yesterday that he did wear a bulletproof vest. Because I remember following Charlie Kirk when he was literally alone with a few people handling the equipment, no security, and now he had security guards with him at all times, but he still got shot. So there's consequences to his speech, but I think we need to stop being naive in thinking that it's not going to happen to us, because it can. That's a reality.
I've certainly been naive at times about it too. It's easy to kind of dismiss these things, or if you're one-on-one with somebody who's like so scared and shaking, they don't seem like an immediate threat. But if that person's got a bat or a knife or some other thing, then they can very quickly become a threat. And with the way I'm covering things, often I am alone down there. You know, you got to have situational awareness, but you got to be looking in your camera. You know, my arms are up, my sides are vulnerable. I do have a vest that kind of got complacent. I haven't been wearing it all the time, but it's something that I guess I'm going to have to wear all the time. You know, I can't take a chance. And it's hard to, you know, I've had people come out with me a few times, and it makes a difference. I can cover a lot more. I don't have to be as, you know, I can kind of focus better. It also helps with the police as well when there's other people around. But it's definitely something I need to think hard about, because there's multiple groups out here that are hostile to me, including law enforcement at times. So it's a tricky thing to navigate. But I do know that that if I do have someone that's capable and trustworthy, that it does make a huge difference on what I can do, how I can film, and maybe, you know, questions, what I can get into. So something I definitely need to consider, and I need to definitely plan better going into this stuff. You know, I can't just be grabbing my ruck and running into a group of 1,000 people hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the comments I just saw there was asking if your vest is bullet or stab proof. But here in Alberta, that's illegal. You can actually have bulletproof vests in Alberta without a permit. Even the government wants you squishy. And you brought up Chris Billboard. So here's a post with him yesterday. Our days are numbered, he says. So yes, fighting evil is worth dying for, because somebody posed a question to him. Is what he's doing worth dying for, Chris? I don't know if that was a threat or what, but that was on a post where Billboard Chris said, because people are saying exactly what you're talking about right now, is you got to be safe out there. People like Billboard Chris are going to be targets. Chris, Dacey, Nico, myself. And it was posed to him that this could easily happen to you. I hope you can switch up your strategy a bit to mitigate the risk. Maybe some armed bodyguards. If you come to my region, I'd be happy to volunteer. Kind of what you just did there, Nico. Like, yeah, you know, some friends that might help Chris, Dacey here. But Billboard Chris's response was, I hear this dozens of times a day. Get security, Chris. Basic security easily costs $1,000 a day. And do you not all realize that I stand on the street making no money? So what he's highlighting here is, you know, what we do doesn't cover basic security. So then this person posed a question, is it worth dying for, Chris? And he says, yes, our days are numbered. So yes, fighting evil is worth dying for. This is the same attitude that Charlie had. Like there's several posts now that are coming out, videos of him saying, look, you know, this is going to get dangerous. We're being targeted. He got called everything, like even a Russian asset, like everything that you can label him for so that he became a target happened to him. And ultimately, at the end of the day, how is this going to change discourse? Is there going to be 10 more Charlie Kirks going out there trying to talk to the university students to have discussions the same way he was? Or is it going to shut down? I guess time will tell. But are we all going to be talking through bulletproof glass now? Like when COVID came out, there was plexiglass everywhere over COVID. So are people going to be talking behind bulletproof glass now? Like, where are we going with this, Nico?
To me, it's going to wake people up to be bolder. Because this, like I said, it's a conversation I had with Billboard Chris to say, if you're in Montreal, I'll help you out. Just let me know next time you're here. I'll cover you. Like, I don't want to get paid. Like, I will happily do that for free because I understand the consequences of his speech. I fully understand what are the consequences that could happen to him. And it has happened to him before. He's been jumped many times and sometimes right in front of police. And police doesn't do anything. And so I offered my help. And as you saw in the comment that you showed, there's even a guy that said, if you're ever in my region, let me know. I'll help you out. And this is what we need to do more of. People like us need to unite and be there to help others. Like if I was in Ottawa, bro, Chris, I'd record with you all the time. This is my type of stuff. Like I've done it so much to do street interviews. It's just, it's hard for me to get somebody else to come down with me and record. Because I want to be, I'm a bit of a paranoid freak when it comes to self-awareness. I don't want to be talking in a phone that I'm holding myself. I'm too vulnerable. I understand what the consequences are, but we need to stand for each other. Guys like us, we need to know if you're in a certain region and I can help, let me know. I will happily do so. That's why if you really need help, there's a guy in mind that I have that texted me yesterday, a bro of mine that I met through martial art. And yesterday he texted me about Charlie Kirk and he's like, I'm done. I'm done with this. I need all of his social media are about business. And he's like, starting today, I'm done. I have to talk against this. So I know that he's the type, and he's a big boy too. He's a big boy too. So it would make for, we can arrange some stuff, but this I think is what we need to do next is we need to stand together. We need to organize together and we need to support each other because we all know the danger and the danger comes at a very low price. We don't make much money, if any, doing this, right? We just do the right thing. So that's why we need to support.
It costs a lot financially, reputationally, reputationally, every which way. But yeah, let's talk after, and I'd definitely be open to that. It definitely makes a difference having someone around. I've had a few people reach out, but it's hard, you know, and like I feel the same way as Chris. Like I've known the risks. I have been attacked. It's not like I don't understand. This doesn't stop what I'm doing. The work continues for sure. Might be a couple of adjustments and maybe a bit more planning, but there's no way I'm going to stop. Like the question asked, like, would you die for this? Yes, I would. I don't think I really have to hesitate to say that. Obviously, I don't want to, and I'm going to take whatever precautions I can. But you know, to me, I feel like this was put in front of me. Like I never expected to be doing anything like this. You know, I was called to do it. Is the best way I could describe it, and I'm going to continue trying to do it the best way I can.
That's a tough one because I want to be as brave as you, Chris. I really do. But I have 3 dependents. I want to be as brave as
it's different too.
One of them sits in right here.
For everyone.
Yeah, I got a young one who's turned 11 today. Happy birthday to our oldest here.
Yeah.
And I got a really young one that definitely needs me around because he's going to have struggles for life himself as well. I wish I could be as brave as you. This is what I've been struggling with since the very moment I saw this. I have some public appearances coming up. And let me just bring up another post here that came out. This is against Danielle Smith. There's a drag artist in Edmonton calling for Danielle Smith to be next. Like, if they're openly calling for violence against our political leaders, like her or not, this is completely unacceptable. And what are the police going to do? Well, they can't do much because they don't have Bill 63. I've had threats like this where I went to the police and said, what can you do? And they said, well, until it gets in real life and physical, we can't do anything. There's no laws. And that made me realize that Bill 63 is what's going to, open that door to these criminal types of activity being stopped. And I'm against Bill 63 completely. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. And here, Chris, this is the one I saw. So it was actually Right Blend who posted this. That's what I saw. This is the thing we're talking about here. Christy Pitts, Hardball League, 3 bats. And this was a previous NDP MP. Okay. Somebody that was voted in by the people to be a leader. And he's calling for, clearly, because I've seen this around Hardball League, prepare, go to Christy Pitts. This is where the gathering in Toronto is going to be. What's next? Okay, so here's where I'm getting really frustrated because, quite frankly, what we're all going to be asking for is bigger government, more police, more security, protect us. Everybody's going to be calling for that. And now we're heading in the wrong direction in all of this because that's not going to protect us. And that's actually going to take away a lot of our sovereignty and autonomy and freedom. But I think that's why I push back on Paula, that this wasn't a lone gunman that was a whack nut. This is something bigger. So let's jump down that little rabbit hole a little bit here, Nico.
Wait, hold on. I just want to add something here. So thank you, Derek, because you'd actually posted about the this person who had called for violence against Danielle Smith. So yeah, so he'd seen it online. But I wanted to add here something that Brooke had mentioned, and which he then responded to was, hold on, where is it? Oh, excuse me for a second. Where is it? It's not working. There it is. Brooke. So Brooke had said, Premier Smith needs to allow Albertans to protect themselves in any way possible. And then he responded with, correct, but don't just say you agree with people that they have the right to defend themselves. We need to have the laws changed in order for that to happen, especially here in Canada.
Well, yeah, for starters, why do we have to get a permit for bulletproof vests in
Yeah.
Alberta? Like right off the bat, that was part of the charges for the Coots guys because they were not allowed to have this. And I was blown away. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean we can't have protection like a vest? It's illegal here in Alberta.
Mhm.
There's a good start right there. Castle Doctrine, all these other things. Let's go towards the avenue of self-protection, not relying upon government protection. Now, I've seen your head's almost falling off there, Nico. You agree with this direction?
But this is what I'm saying. I don't like governments. I don't like big governments. I don't need more governments. I want stand your ground. And you know, one of the things we need to stop doing is expecting the government to give us that privilege. That's a God-given right. I really don't care about the consequences of self-defense. If I need to defend my family, defend myself, defend a loved ones, I am not thinking consequences. I'm thinking about what's in front of me at that moment, and I'm dealing with that threat, no matter what that means, no matter what the consequences are. But I want to be able to stand my ground. I wish our governments, like somebody like Pierre Poilievre, would have the balls to actually say, not only Castle Doctrine, I want to be able to stand my ground. If you touch me, you touch my family. It doesn't matter where it is. You just surrendered your life. My family's life is more important than yours. No questions about it. And I will explain myself to God later. And I can do that very easily. But this is what we need to stop expecting our governments to do it for us. That's why I'm telling guys like Chris, surround yourself by guys that will defend you. Don't expect others to do it for you. Don't expect the government to say, we're going to allow you. This is a God-given right. We need to stop expecting our government to save us and just start acting as godly people. This is a right that we have by birth through God. We have the right to defend ourselves and our families. This is why being a godly man expects me to take a bullet for my family, because this is my job as a man, is to protect them. First and foremost, most important job I ever have is to protect my family. Whatever that means, whatever the consequences, that's my job. We need to act like men. And I want to call you out a bit, Jason, on something that you said. You said that it's hard for you to be courageous like what Chris does because you have dependencies. But at the end of the day, bro, if you don't teach your sons to stand up for what they believe in, who will? Because I'm looking at my son and I'm like, I need to do this even more because of him. I want to show him what it is to be a man, whatever the consequences are. I want him to understand that I stood up for something that was more important than my life. And your comment from earlier that you showed from Billboard Chris, would you die for this? I would, no questions about it. I expect it's a matter of time. But that's fine. That's fine by me. I want to leave this place a better world than when I was in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hope that at the end of the day, when my numbers called, I hope that this place was better because of me. I made a change that showed, even if it's a few men out there, that it is okay to be courageous, to stand up for what you believe in. That's all I want at the end of the day, is to give people courage to stand up, especially men, to be manly again, to be Christian manly. We've been prosecuted for thousands of years. That's a fact. When you become a Christian, you accept that fact from the get-go. It's fine then. Just go out and do what you're supposed to do, whatever the consequences.
Okay, but there's a small contradiction in what you said there, because how can I raise my son when I'm a martyr? My memory is not going to get him further. So I definitely want to raise my men to be men, but I want to raise my men. So I got to think about the right way to do it, the smart way to do it. Making myself a martyr, walking into the street and approaching the situation, I don't know if that's my path. That's why I said I'm not as courageous as Chris. I couldn't walk around the streets, walk up to these groups and try and initiate a conversation with them. Not just because I'm worried about what will happen to me, but I'm French. I have a fiery temper as well. So I'm also more concerned about what I will do under those situations, especially if I'm threatened further than I have been already. I want to put that on the table there. I don't think I'm going to step away from doing the good work. But what does that good work look like? Am I going to go expose myself to dangerous situations, or am I going to build something bigger than me? And that's where my mind has been this morning, Nico, is around
Mhm.
Source One, the network that we're building. Chris is aware of this as well. That's bigger than me. And I think that that's where I can put a lot of effort in the near term to build something bigger than me. And yes, I'm not in the street with a camera like Chris, and thank God we have people like Chris. And but I think a platform where we can get more information out, the truth out, and keep fighting on that level and keep talking. Because I believe when Charlie Kirk said that, once talking stops, violence starts. So let's not do that. Let's keep talking. But does me, Jason, this guy, do I need to be standing in a crowd trying to convince crazy people who don't even want to listen? They're not convincible. They're just there to cause harm. I don't know if that's my path, but providing
That's a
platform,
conversation you need to have with God, right? I'm not saying
my
that you should
family.
do what first and foremost with God. You need to ask him what he expects of you, because not everybody's going to do what Chris does. We're not built the same. Not everybody has the same talents. It takes a different type of talent to be able to do what Chris does. Maybe you do it through interviewing and just stating what your opinion is, and having shows like we're doing right now. Just having a civil discourse where people can talk. I'm not implying that you should be doing what Chris is doing. What I'm saying is that we need to have serious conversations with God. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I've done what Chris is doing. I'm going to start doing it again. I do this every day. So I know what my role is, and I know what the consequences can be. That's my conversation that I have with God. And I encourage the people out there to just have that conversation with God to see what he expects of us individually. I'm not Chris. I'm not Jason. I'm me. My talents are different. The way that I am is different. What I bring to the table is different. So I'm not implying that you should do what Chris does. All I'm saying is that being courage should always be the number one thing after your faith, right? I've debated this for so long. What comes first, courage or faith? I'm always going, you need to have faith in order to have courage. You need to have courage to have faith. So I don't know which one comes first. It really depends on the day. But in my opinion, faith and courage are the two most important things that you can have. And you can't have one without the other. It's like the chicken and the egg dilemma. I don't know which one comes first, but you need both in order to be a Christian man, that I'm sure of.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with that, Nico, when I said I'm not as courageous as Chris. Because what Chris is doing is something I can't do. I can't do that. I can do other things, and I can be courageous.
There's different
in other
types
ways.
of courageous. There's definitely different types of
Same thing with
courageous.
Billboard Chris. Like Billboard Chris too. I can't do what he does, and I couldn't do what Charlie did. I couldn't sit in a group of people that absolutely want me dead and then try and convince them. I could do other things. So I'm glad that you kind of let me flush that out there, Nico, and what I meant by I'm not as courageous as Chris. I think even the idea that we're still having this conversation today provides us a platform that has courage, but I can't do what he does. That's a little bit different for me.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
Dacey,
I mean,
you're the man of the hour here.
yeah, we don't want to all be doing the same things. Like I often tell people, like for most people, you don't want to be doing what I'm doing. First of all, we don't need 10 of me in the street doing it, but it's not for everyone. And just like there's things you guys do that I couldn't do or wouldn't want to do probably. So it takes all types. But it is important to find how we want to do it and to continue this fight. That's going to look different for everyone, right? And if we were all doing the same thing, we wouldn't get very far. So I think it's important to remember that we all have our roles to play and to just embrace what you're doing. It doesn't have to be what everyone else is doing, and we don't need to compare ourselves to each other necessarily either. I spent quite a bit of time with Chris, and I've learned some things from him, and I've also learned some things that I'd like to do a different way, right? So we're all going to do, even though we're both in the street, we're all going to do things a little differently. But I think as long as we're all working towards the same thing and working in good faith, then we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, and I did have a conversation, Nico, this morning with God, because I was up at 3, which is very early, and trying to think about where I'm going to go with this. I have limited resources. I have limited time. I have lots of responsibilities. How do I massage this into a path forward? And I haven't even shared it with Paula yet, but I'm going to be pulling back on certain things and been pushing harder on other things. So my run for council, I'm all in, because that's definitely where I need to put some effort. The Source One initiative that we're working on, I'm all in, because this is where we need to build something bigger than us. The conversation I'm having with Alberta Self-Determination, finishing that, absolutely. But I may cut everything else. All these other public appearances, going around Alberta, getting into the mud, especially when there's like anti-separatists out there and you got these trans people threatening the premier. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's my path right now. I don't need to go out there and expose myself to that. I need to finish what I'm doing here. I need to run for council, win, get on that council and help my neighbors. I need to help build Source One, get that out there, help the rest of Canada and Alberta, and then finish the path forward with this Alberta independence conversation, self-determination conversation. That, I think, is enough. Okay, that's like 3 major projects. And that's not even talking about my family. I got to prepare for winter and other things. Like my wife knows we've got a big list here. So I'm probably going to be pulling back on some other initiatives that were resource intensive. They've taken a lot of my money and my time and taken me away from my family. So I'm probably going to send a couple emails after the show, pulling back on some other initiatives I was working on and just focus on some of these core ones that are important to me. And Nico, that did come from some reflection this morning. Where should I be putting my dollars, my time, and my efforts? And it wasn't to stop. That's just not in me. I think I have to keep going. But what is in me is focus on something that's core and essential. Source One, candidacy as a counselor, family, and making sure I'm still around to do all of that. I think that's kind of where my path is at this stage.
You know, there's a couple of things that you said that I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I think where guys like you and I need to do even more work is the type of mashup that we've been doing, like the one that we had yesterday, the one that we have on Saturday. Yep. We need to expose guys like him. We need to bring them on to speak about what they're doing. We need to give them a platform in order to show to the people what they're actually doing. Like, I reached out to Puck Daddy, the guy that's going to organizing the event in Toronto on September 13. Like, I know the guy, I don't know him personally, but we've been following each other for a while, and I want him to be on the show tonight. So we're going to set it up so that he can talk about it. I'll edit content to put it out there and try to make it go viral so that more people show up. So this is how we can help people like Chris, people like Pug Daddy, people throughout Canada that are trying to have an impact, but that don't necessarily have the time to be creating shows like this. Because you said it yourself, Chris, you don't do it. It's probably a lack of time, not because you don't want to, but that's where people like us come into play to say, come to my platform, use my platform. So those mashups that we're doing, if it was up to me, I'd do it once a day. I would have mashups every day, 2 hours a day, have people show up all the time so that we can have those conversations. But I also do the street work too, right? So we are called to do different things. But I also want to help guys like Chris. Like, if I was in Ottawa, bro, I'd be a phone call away to come check your ass. And I'd be fucking recording too. Oh, my apologies, Jason. I'm not supposed to swear here. But I would be the first one to be there. I'd have my GoPro strapped to my chest and I'd be recording some stuff too, right? So we just need to stand together. We just need to put the words out there that if we got guys like Chris that need help in Ottawa, maybe we got guys in Montreal that need help. We got people in Toronto like Pug Daddy that needs help too. So we need to put it out there using our combined platforms, giving them an audience, but also encouraging our commenters or listeners to show up to those events. Go hang out around Chris. Go make sure that he's okay. Go just be around. Just show that he's not alone in that crowd. Don't do anything violent. Just be peaceful. Just peacefully there, but show that he's not alone. Support the people that you like online. And this is the step I think we need to cross is this is not real life. This is not real. Mm-hmm. What Chris is doing in real life is real. You want to put your time, you want to change the world, go help guys like Chris. Because I love the way that I love that you're running for council, because that's something I tell men all the time. You don't change the world on a world level. You change the world on the community level. Because at the end of the day, our society is a bunch of small communities connected to each other. That's all it is. You want to impact change your community. Be involved in your city council. Know who's on the school board where your kids are going. Get involved locally. That's hell
where
yeah.
you're going. Yep. School board trustee, Ward 2. That's what
you change the world by changing one community at a time. And that's what I love about what Chris is doing. He's doing it in Ottawa. And I think Ottawa should be yours. Like, you should be responsible for covering that stuff in Ottawa because it's local to you. And people that believe in what you're doing should go help you by just being there.
100%. Things are changing.
Yeah, and
So-
Ward 2 here.
Yeah, Wild Rose School Division. That's what I'm running as well.
Yeah. And that's where we definitely want to put our efforts. The community change around us and then help, motivate others to do the exact same thing. This is something I've been doing with David Parker, is trying to motivate people to run for council and school board wherever you can. This is a bottom-up effort, and we need to be able to do that. There was a comment from Jordan Peterson that I didn't like until now. And it was, hey, Jordan, why don't you run for MP? Like, why don't you get into government? And his response was, well, I'm actually more effective talking and bringing people together. And I thought at that moment, like, how weak is that? Like, that was my mindset at that time. I'm like, having you in the House of Commons would be really great. We need that kind of intelligence in there. It wasn't until moments ago that I actually respected that comment from him, because he's not wrong. We need people in certain areas doing certain things. And even though I would have liked to see him as an MP, maybe even PM of Canada, that wasn't his path, and he knew it. So now I've changed my respect for him on that particular comment as we're sitting here doing this conversation.
I wanted to add a comment. So, Nico, when you had said you wanted to do more mashups because it gives you an opportunity to get people together, showcase and platform the skills and abilities of other people so that you can create awareness. Well, there's this comment that came up that's saying the panel from yesterday was a cathartic start to progress. You've also got to realize the viewers need these types of get-togethers and panels as well, because they need an outlet as well in order to share, communicate with others. So it's not just to showcase really important individuals like our lovely Chris Dacey, but it's also for people, for the viewers to see them as well, and the viewers to get something out of it as well, and that sense of community, because they're not alone. A lot of people have been affected by this assassination. That's what it is. It's the assassination. And a lot of people are sitting and thinking. And for example, a comment here I have from Charlene: we're not going to have conflict with another country. The conflict will be on our own soil. Like, that's how people are feeling. And so giving them a community, every day or a couple times a week to get together and share their thoughts and concerns, I think is honorable that you guys do it.
Hey, Chris, have you met my wife, Paula, yet? No?
Yeah.
That's an inside joke, 2 years old now. But yeah, absolutely. Paula's right. And Nico, yeah, I really like your mashups. I think what we're going to be doing Saturdays, maybe more frequently, we'll see how we get there, is important. And this is why I think I was shown this morning that I need to focus on source one. I have to put a lot of effort there, resources, time, money, whatever it takes, so that Chris does have a network of people. He's like, hey, I'm going to this event. And immediately, so source one community and family comes together and gets there for him. And we keep having more mashups, more guests, more conversations, because I think the most important part is what Paula just highlighted there. We're helping others.
Yeah.
And I do think that when we had that conversation yesterday where we weren't calling for violence or retaliation, we're actually calling out that kind of sentiment. Don't do that. Go hug a liberal. I think that helped a lot of people kind of get back into the mindset of, okay, we're not going to become the problem. We shouldn't become the problem. Don't fall into this trap that's being set here of anger. Don't become the monster you're trying to fight. And that's why I think this morning I woke up and had more reflection on where I should be spending my time, energy, money, resources, and love, because I got a lot of that to spread around.
You know, what was great yesterday is that Jason D, the guy from the US, he's the one that called me up. He's like, hey, bro, I need to be on your show tonight. And I'm like, why wait for tonight? Let's have a show in 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And he's a massive Democrat. He's a lefty. He's a lefty, and he's the one, he's like, I don't even like Charlie Kirk, but this needs to stop. This is not okay. This goes against the First Amendment. This goes against freedom of speech. This is wrong. I don't care what he said. This is wrong. So it came from a lefty, and I think that's what I like. This is what I like the most about what we're building as per the Political Orphans, is you literally have a liberal and a conservative that go at it every day. Our audience is all over the spectrum. We have massive liberals, we have massive woke people, and we have massive conservatives having conversations every day, and it's always done in a civil way. For the most part, obviously, you know as well as I do that you can't control all the people that shows up to a live stream. But the point in the matter is that yesterday we had two liberals, we have a guy like Jeff Evely that's somewhere in the middle, and then you have conservative people. And then you have people that don't affiliate like me, that don't affiliate with any political party whatsoever. So we really had a mashup of not just people, but a mashup of ideologies. Yet the message was constant throughout that this is not acceptable. We need to not respond in a violent way because this is what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, if you ask who they voted for, we all voted for different people, or some people like me didn't vote for anybody because nobody deserved my vote. So this is what I like about that show, and having mashups like we did yesterday. Absolutely loved it, and I wish we could do this every day because this is the definition of what the Political Orphan show is supposed to be. People from all spectrum, people from all political affiliations can come together, disagree, agree, but do it in a way that is constructive and give a space to an audience to say it's okay to have those conversations. Not is it okay, not is it only okay, we need to have those conversations because at the end of the day, we agree on about 80 to 90% of things. Yet we are always complaining and battering each other on the 10 or 20% that we disagree with. But remember when you were in school, if you have 80% on an exam, it's pretty damn good. So how about we concentrate on what makes us similar, civil discourse about it, try to find solutions, because most of the time, Rob and I, we agree on the problem. Where we disagree is the solution. What is the solution to the problem that we're seeing? But 95% of the time, we both agree that there's a problem.
100%. And this is why I really was attracted to the Source One thing that we were fleshing out before the election, is there was no limitation on conservative or Christian or anything.
Yeah.
It was open. It's open, and it's meant to be an open platform for basically independent voices and journalists and citizen journalists to have a place to connect, network, work together. And right off the bat, we had 20 plus people come together from across the spectrum. We want more. We want more from the entire spectrum, but it's a good starting point. It's not alt media. It's not mainstream media. It's being built from the very start to be open to everybody. So we'll have all types of conversations on there. So that's why this morning, that's where I was reflecting. So I actually have to make a decision, Nico, like today. I've been given a deadline by the end of today. Put up some more money, be part of this thing. You could become one of these big, people. But when I look at the people that's involved, and I'm like, some of these are faux. Like they're not real. They're there for the clout. They're there for the views. And I don't think I want to put my resources there. So anyways, I got some decisions to make. I'm going to have a chat with my wife right after this episode to go ahead and do that. But on that note, I got to get back to our day. Dacey, thank you so much for showing up today, sharing your story, sharing what you went through, the pictures, your concerns, and your courage. You got a lot of that in spades for sure. And Nico, brother from another mother, really enjoying spending more and more time with you. The mashups, the one-on-ones, the behind the scenes, the private chats, everything. And being called out from time to time by you is exactly what a good brother from another mother would do. So I appreciate that a lot. So love you both very much. But thanks for hanging out with us today,
Thanks,
Nico.
gents.
I'm just going to say, Jason, that we need guys that are not the same, that agrees. I'm not the typical conservative, so I tend to call people out. I tend to not mince my words, and I tend to swear a lot, which is very different from who you are. But this, I think, is why we create great content together, because we're completely different. We have very similar ideas. We don't express them in the same way, though. Very, very different, which is a good thing.
I like that too. And by the way, for the people watching, I've never told a guest they can't swear. They just inherently they don't for some reason. When Nico says I'm not supposed to, well, that wasn't from me. I didn't give you the
I'm
rule
trying not to on your show. I drop enough F-bombs on my show to cover all the topics I'll ever cover for the rest of my life. So I try to be better.
Yeah, you're covering yours and mine. So it's all out there for sure. Yep. And then Chris, thank you so much. You've been a good friend for the years. Really love you, man. And I definitely want to see you keep going. You stay safe, but you do your thing, man. Your path is strong.
Yeah, thanks so much. And Nico, I'll have to make it on your show there one time soon, man. We're well overdue for a conversation.
Stop slacking off, bro. The invitation's open. You've been invited multiple times. Stop slacking off and show up.
I'll send you a message after this. Love you guys.
Sounds good, man.
Take care.
I feel like a bit of a matchmaker, but that's what networking is. So gentlemen, you have yourself a great day. And there's a bromance growing right there. I can see it. You guys take care.
There you have it.
Bye. Well, there you go, love. Yeah, surprise. I'm probably going to be around a little more often than we were planning earlier. and getting other things done. I want to focus on certain things. I want to get things done, and I definitely want to raise a couple men. But I want to be here to raise a couple men.
Yeah, sure. I'm on board with that too, babe. I'm on board with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was actually, ironically enough, I was talking about you last night to my good friend, and I was saying that Jason Levine, the person I love, respect, is incredible, and yeah, I want to keep you around.
Well, let's be selfish a little bit longer
Yeah.
and give these two boys some guidance growing up.
Because you need both parents, people. If you can work at it, you need the mother, you need the father, you need the feminine influence, you need the masculine influence to raise boys and girls. They need to be well-rounded people. So yes, having a strong male, I'd like to have that in my life.
You saying I'm a strong male?
Yes, you are. You know you. Oh my God.
Fishing it out. But
Yes,
now we have to get into birthday boy mode.
that's
We
right.
got a full day. He picked out every meal.
Yes.
It was like his entire birthday starting like now. So happy birthday
Yeah.
to JJ. He's turning 11.
Love
He's
you,
a
babe.
September 11th baby. And let's go spend time with the family today.
Yep, I agree. Thank you everyone for joining us. Somber day from yesterday, but I think good conversations were had. So thanks to everyone who watched, who participated in the chat. We really appreciate it. And thanks for supporting us, Nico, Chris, Dacey. Yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you all very much. This is therapy for us as well.
Yeah.
Very inexpensive or expensive, depends how you look at it, therapy. But we love you all very much, and God bless.